sunny Winnipeg. It's a lovely day, and today I am super thrilled to have the lovely, talented, amazing Vicki Renwick here in the Ordinary Joe studio. Golf clap, golf clap. Yes, we've been talking about this for a while. I'm super thrilled. And again, like I told you before, when you said, I'll come in and have coffee with you, that was the best thing ever. It just made my entire day. Because first of all, I was really wanting to do a podcast with you, but the fact that you would make the trip in and do it, because it's going to be so much more fun in person, I think, for sure. Yeah, so I'm very excited to have Vicki, and I'll just give you a little bit of a lowdown. I'm fairly certain all of southwestern Manitoba is tuning in for this podcast. And you know what, Trudy Dixon, if you want to put it on that channel too, like in between like the Melita Grads and the Curling, we can maybe figure that out too, right?
Sure. Good old access.
That's what it is, access. Yeah, in between like the Christmas concert and stuff. We could work it out. Yeah. So for those of us for those tuning in who aren't super familiar with how Vicki and I are connected, right now I live in Winnipeg, but for 8 years, hard to believe it was just 8 years because it felt longer than that. Yeah. 8 years I lived in Melita, Manitoba, southwest of Brandon, and I taught out there, and I just have to say, Melita is the best community ever. Like, it really is. And I never thought that living in a place could impact me so much, but I love the community, great people, and on many levels, in some ways I feel like I've never left, and sometimes I wish that I never did. Yeah, because the kids out there, the families, everybody, just such a fantastic place. And I have to tell you, so when I moved down there, I got the job like 2 days before school started. Oh. Yeah. In fact, I think school maybe had started. Okay. Yeah, I was filling a term for a gentleman who was going on sick leave. And so I roared down there, got an apartment by Cindy Bayek and all the stuff. Yeah, right by the school. Yeah. And didn't know a soul, just went in there and started teaching my little buttons off. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. And the first thing that I noticed was that everybody has a nickname in Melita. Yeah. Everybody does. So I thought maybe it might be kind of fun, because I only remember a few. Let's chime off some of it, because I'm thinking there's Perk and Dinger and Hodge, FR. There's an FR, right? Sure. Yeah. Probably. He always says was fucking rights, and so everybody just calls him FR. Maybe. Very nice guy. I remember that one. Yeah. So what are the other nicknames? I'm trying to think. Oh my goodness. Well, my hubby, right, is Wink. William. Okay. Yep. Nobody knows him as William. I love it. Yeah. Okay. Always. I think I've heard that. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, you're making me think. Yeah. We will have to think about that. Yeah. One. And one of my kids, Kyle Vrooman, owns a construction company now, doesn't he? Very successful. Yes. When he moved to Melita, everybody teased him because they thought he looked like Prime Minister Diefenbaker. So everybody called him Deefy. Oh, that's funny. And he was Deefy for years. So Kyle Vrooman, anybody who's watching, let me know. Do they still call you Deefy? Hell of a good kid. Yeah. Great family. Yeah. For sure. And I think when the very first day that I started teaching there, Nicholas Porter said, Zarn, what kind of name is that? Sounds like El Zarno. And that stuck hard. Yeah. And everybody for a very long time called me El Zarno, which got shortened to Zarno. And that was probably 19, since I left, probably over 20 years. I am still Zarno. And the place where I work now, corporation, highfalutin, I'm Zarno. That's awesome. Yeah. Way to go, Mr. Porter. Yeah, there's Nicholas Porter. Here's our first cheers. Cheers. Nicholas Porter. Yeah, and Deefy and Wink and Hodge. Yeah. So we are going to have a really good discussion here today. We are going to talk about Melita in more detail down the road. We're going to do some tributes. We're going to do some cheers. And for those of you tuning in who don't know Vicki's backstory, Vicki has 3 daughters, and Taylor, the middle one, right? She was the middle daughter. You can let me know which year, because I don't know all the details, but a number of years ago, Taylor was taken in an accident. She was killed by a drunk driver. And since then, Vicki and your family have been just massively committed, I would say, to not only honoring Taylor's legacy and her memory, but also speaking about drunk driving and being involved in MAD, that kind of thing, and really proactive about all this stuff. Not just about the drunk driving, but also honoring Taylor's memory, which I just freaking love. I really, really do. And we've Vicky's already been here for like 6 hours, and and I told her she might have to bring her pajamas, or we might have to do a second one because we have just a ton to talk about. Yeah, because and I'll just say this, and I think like I was telling you that I was telling everybody that you were coming on the podcast, and I think some people were approaching it with a little bit of trepidation because there's a real sad element to it, right? And we've talked about this. This is not necessarily an easy conversation to have, but I think we both agree that it's a really important one to have. Yes, and so we want you. Our goal is for you to walk away from this podcast not feeling like super depressed, but to feel a measure of hope. And because we all have shit that we've experienced in our life that hasn't been pleasant. Maybe we're going through stuff right now, but this is the way for us to bond. And so if you're sitting at home or in the car driving to work or getting your own Tims, maybe something can come out of this podcast that can really help other people, inspire other people. And first and foremost, we're honoring the shit out of Taylor.
We
here's
are.
to Taylor.
Cheers.
Yeah, and here's to you and your family too. You guys are freaking rock stars. Yeah. So this is going to be a really, really good discussion.
I'm so excited to be here. I've seen you for years, but it feels like I love it.
I feel like we were just like I see every day.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're going to do is that we do have people tuning in who don't know Vicki or the story or anything like that. And, if you haven't been to Melita yet, you need to go. It's the plug for Melita tourism. Yeah.
Gotta see the banana.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta see the banana. And, so maybe what we'll do is just let's hear about who you are and your family. Tell us about all the stuff like we're having coffee.
Okay. So grew up in Napinka, Manitoba.
Yep.
Shout out to Napinka. Lived there most of my life. Moved to Melita partway through my teen years. Lived with my dad. Moved to Coulter with my hubby. Danielle was born when we lived there. Then bought a farm. Moved back to the big city in Napinka. So
okay.
that's home, north of the or south of the tracks. All the bad people are north. Shout out to the bad people in Napinka.
Yeah.
You know who you are. Danielle, I guess the other two girls were born when we lived there.
Okay.
I worked a few jobs when I was younger, worked at the bakery, shout out to the bakery.
Yeah.
Then worked at the grocery store for a while, and then got my job with Manitoba Hydro.
Yeah.
So first 10 years of my career I spent on the road. Part-time in lots of spots. So Boissevain, Souris, Ford, and Reston.
Oh, wow.
Melita. Then got a full-time position in Melita, so that was amazing.
Yeah.
Graduated from Melita, got married in the big city in Napinka.
I love it.
That's kind of the long and the short. Married in 92.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've celebrated some big anniversaries, which is pretty cool. Who would have thunk it? Raised our kids. Danielle is, now I gotta think, she's gonna shoot me. 30, she'll be 32 this summer.
Wow,
I'm horrible with that, I don't know how that happened when I'm still, 29.
Heck yeah.
Anyhow, so she lives in Minto, Manitoba with her husband, Tyson, who is also a Napinka area kid. Tom and Patty Lewis's son. I don't know if you remember Tom and Patty.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, so he grew up like a couple miles from where we live.
That's right. And did he have an older brother, Justin?
He does.
Okay,
yes.
I taught Justin.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's who that is. And so they live in Minto right now. Danielle's a nurse practitioner in Souris and kicking butt.
Nice.
Job.
That's excellent.
Yes. Tyson has his own mobile glass business. Shout out to Tyson.
Yeah.
So he'll come to you, fix your windshield. You got a chip. You need the whole windshield replaced.
That's super.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They have 2 little boys. They are my sunshine every single day. Ben is 5.
Yeah.
And he'll be 6 right away. You would have told me 5.5, Grandma.
Yeah.
And Finn will be 3 in September.
That's amazing.
So they are just, pure sunshine.
Yeah.
Pure sunshine. Hillary is 20. Oh, she just told me. My kids are going to shoot me. 23. Horrible.
That's okay.
You might have to edit that part. Anyhow, she is just got hired as an MSR in Minnedosa, lives in Brandon, very excited about that. Things are going well. Girls love to play hockey, they play ball, Ben plays hockey, plays ball.
That's excellent.
Yeah, Taylor, that's the tough one.
That's
right?
the tough one. Yeah.
One of the toughest things people ask, and I'm in a different spot in my journey, but how many kids do you have?
Right. Yeah.
Right? And that's a natural conversation.
For sure.
And so early on, people would say, how many kids do you have? Well, I have 3. Oh, cool. How old are they?
Right.
This is their names. This is their ages. Oh, well, what do they do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Danielle's, doing this. Hillary's doing this. Taylor was killed by an armed driver. Mic drop.
Yeah, for sure.
Then you get the look.
Yeah,
I call it, and I hate the look.
Yeah.
Because then they're looking at you like, holy fuck, now what do I say?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And why did I say that? And I just want to run. And you know it. You know the look, right?
I've seen it a million times. Yeah.
And it used to break my heart. And then I would end up comforting them.
Yes.
Like, it's okay. I'm cool,
Mm-hmm.
That sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because we're almost 8 years without Taylor.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is my deal. This is my story. You ask the question. Yeah. You're getting the answer.
Yes. Yes.
And you either give me the look or you don't.
Exactly.
Right.
But that's their issue.
That's you. That's not. But it took me a long time to get to that.
For sure.
Right. So yeah, all the girls, 4-H members and athletes and all that good stuff. Taylor didn't get to do enough stuff, but she got to do a lot of stuff.
Right.
Graduated from Melita.
Mm-hmm.
She played hockey, loved hockey. That was her thing.
Yeah.
Badminton. Summer times we're at the lake every weekend still. We were when the kids were little. Yeah. Wakeboarding, skiing, tubing, Taylor taught the nieces and nephews, my nieces and nephews, and friends, hi Rochelle, how to wakeboard, how to ski, and she would be in that green Oak Lake water, colder than you know what, and never, flinch. Those kids would get up, they'd fall down, they'd get up, they'd fall down, and she would just keep cheering them on, and you can get it, you can do it, and they would do it.
I love that.
Mini sticks in the basement until they would come upstairs, all of those kids, and they're all just drenched because they've been playing mini sticks for so long, but she never complained. She just loved it. Anytime she got to spend. Taylor had some jobs when she was growing up. She worked at Southwest.
Yeah, okay.
And was a car detailer.
Oh, that's
absolutely
awesome.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. So she did that for a while, and then for 2 summers, she worked with Karen Beauchamp. Taylor was not a frilly, she was very happy at Southwest because she could wear jeans and her t-shirt and just go to work, right? Yeah. So Karen Beauchamp approached me and said, what's Taylor up to for this summer? And I said, I don't know, she hadn't got that far yet. Yeah. Well, would she ever come and work for me? And I'm like, oh, like that. I thought it sounded great, but I thought Taylor is not going to sign up for this, right? Because she's going to have to dress up and, talk to people. So went home and chatted with Taylor about it, and she's like, oh, we talked about it, and she's like, yeah, that might be kind of fun. Sure. So she ended up working for Karen for 2 summers, and super. She just loved it.
So what did she do?
So she was a receptionist at the front, and so, dealt with people when they came in the door, helped with filing, did some typing and those kind of things, and it was really cool. And of course, Karen and the girls didn't realize until after Taylor was gone, after she had finished her last summer, there were some forms that they used regularly in the office that she just went ahead and photocopied a bunch of them. So they were all ready for them, right? And it seems like a little thing, but when you're in an office and you need a form constantly, and Karen had said, like, she didn't realize how much that helped us out, right? That is super. And it was just, it was just a little thing, but it was cool.
It meant a big thing, though. Yeah. That's super.
Yeah. So then after school, Taylor came into Winnipeg. She always wanted to be a vet. So she took her first year university, applied to vet school. That didn't happen. So switched gears, athletic therapy, right? Her next love. And so was in school. She started AT first part of September. And the 9th of October, she was gone.
Yeah.
On her way home for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Taylor's a planner. When Taylor's going to hang a picture on a wall, you don't just put it in nail and hang a picture. You measure and you
Okay.
Yes. Another cute little Taylor story, when we moved her into her place in there, she had some of her grad pictures. And she's like, can I hang this on my wall? It's like, yeah, it's your house, like, right? But like, is that being show offy? Is that, you know, am I bragging if I hang it on my wall? And it's like, no, it's your wall. You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right? That was just her personality.
Yeah.
So yeah, she needed work hours for school.
Okay.
Volunteer work hours. So, had to figure out, she had it all figured out exactly how many hours she needed and the time slots that she had available.
Oh, wow.
So she could still play hockey, and needed to stay back Friday night of Thanksgiving to get these hours, to make sure she had the hours.
Okay.
And so that was cool. She called me and was like, okay, I'm downtown, because she had to go to the UW.
Oh.
And it was dark and she was nervous about it. And so I was like, just go straight to the building. When you leave, if there's somebody going, you know, be safe, right? That's, I was worried about that.
Yeah.
And so after the game, and the deal was, if she was tired, wasn't coming home. If she was feeling up to it, she was going to come home. So called, and she's like, nope, Mom, I'm excited. I'm feeling good. I'm coming home. I want to get home for Thanksgiving. Yeah. And that was the last time I got to talk to her.
That was the last time. Yeah.
Then she texted a while later and said, just got my Tim's. It was French vanilla cappuccino with a splash of whatever, and it was always that. She always, that was her thing. Yeah. And got my Tim's on my way home. Drive safe. Love you. Yeah. I will, Mom. Love you too. Yeah. And then, we went to bed because it was going to be 2:00 in the morning when she got home. And I woke up, and it's, you know, people say you get a sense something's just not quite right. And we did, and called, texted, which she wouldn't answer a text if you texted her and she was driving. She would have pulled over, right? But a call, she would have pulled over. No reply, which was not like Taylor. And so Wayne was like, hey, I got to go find her. Something's, you know, gone really wrong. And I called 911 because what do you do? Right. And the lady, you know, asked me some questions, and she said, okay, you know, where do you live? And so I gave her the address, which I thought was kind of weird, but whatever. I'll get back to you. So, okay, waited, did some stuff, and looking out the window, and there's lights coming down the lane. It's like, oh, awesome. You know, she's fine. They're home. Everything's good. Well, walked out to the garage, and there was 2 police officers standing in the yard. Yeah. That's when life as we know it.
It changed in an instant.
Oh. And I don't remember a lot about what those guys said, but they're incredible human beings, because they made me feel like at that moment our family was the most important thing to them. Wow. They, you know, what can we do? You know, they came in the house with me, and it was like, hey, we, you know, these are the things that we had to do, because shit needs to get taken care of, right? Taylor had cut her hair off before she went to school. Cut it really, really short. Okay. Well, all of her ID had long hair. Oh, so someone had to drive to Portage, because that's where they had taken her to identify her. Oh, fuck. Because they couldn't go with her ID. Oh. So somebody had to go and do that. Yeah. Well, Wink was like almost to Wawanesa, because he had gone looking for her. I couldn't do it. Yeah. I couldn't. Yeah. Danielle's a nurse, so she said she would do it. Tyson went with her. His parents actually went and drove for them. Okay. And Wink went. So I called him and I said, you got to come home. Like, it's bad. So he got home. So drove all that time by himself, not knowing what was going on, and a wreck. And he gets to the door, and I handed him a coffee, and I said, like, this is what you got to do. Yeah. And so they had to go and wait, right? They're going to get there. Somebody stole her car. It wasn't her, all those things, right? You're just hoping. And it wasn't what we wanted. Yeah. Yeah. But those officers, they explained, this is what needs to happen, and this is where you need to go, and this is who's going to meet you there. And they were just incredible. And is there anybody that we can call for you? Is like, what can we do to, and I can't thank them enough. And I've spoken to the one fellow after that. Oh, really? Just, in passing. It wasn't even an on purpose kind of thing. Yeah. And, had said to him, like, it was just incredible. And lots of people don't have a lot of nice things to say about police officers, but I saw them in a different light. And,
that makes sense to me. And it, like you say, police officers often get a bad rap, but in that instant, they almost step in and become part of your family to do a lot of the really hard stuff. And that's a hard fucking thing for them.
Can you imagine? They had to tell us your life is changing forever right now.
Yeah, in a really ugly way. Yeah. And then they go, okay, what can I do for you? And they take some of the load off of the really, really hard stuff.
And they gave a shit, right? They made
Yeah.
They were amazing people.
That's, you know what, toast to our police officers who have to do the hard stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, because that, you know, kudos to them for sure.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. You can't train people to do that job. You can't train someone to be that compassionate and that caring.
Yeah.
That's how they are.
Yeah,
those
for
people,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
And they may be the exception to the rule. I don't know, but they were incredible people.
Yeah, good on them. Good on them. I'm glad, you know, like, I mean, you know, like you say, that the awkward looks and stuff like that, and there will always be that, fuck, I'm really sorry that happened, but I'm glad that they were there for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Because, and I think throughout this whole conversation, there will be the undercurrent is, fuck, this is a really shitty thing. You know, we're like, that I think goes without said, but there are some other things that also need to be said. Yeah.
And I was talking about people in the look. Myself, I used to, and this, I was telling you earlier, my life's kind of divided before Taylor, after Taylor. Yeah. That's just natural.
Yeah.
Before we lost Taylor, if I was in the grocery store and saw you and you had just lost your dad.
Yeah.
Other side of the store.
Yeah.
There's no way that I would have came up to you and said, Jody, I'm really sorry to hear about your dad. That really sucks.
Yeah.
Right? Because I didn't want to make someone cry.
It's
well, I got a news flash.
Yeah.
You can't make me cry.
Yeah.
There is nothing that you can say or do to me that's going to hurt me any more than I'm hurting. Right?
And crying isn't the worst thing in the world. It's okay.
No. And I actually, there's a couple ladies, and one of the ladies has passed now, but she lost her son and grandkids in a plane crash. You might be familiar, Lorna Spence from West
Canada. Yeah.
Okay. And every time I saw her in the store, biggest hug, and we both cried.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
fuck,
it sucks.
Yeah.
Right? And we cried, but I didn't care if she was crying, and she didn't care if I was crying.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know, it was a connection.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, I'm not in your face, you know, but if I'm walking down the street and someone's lost somebody and I can get a quiet minute with them, I'm really sorry. Like that really, really sucks.
It goes a long way, and there's something to be said. Like when I was younger, I always kind of thought, I don't know what to say. Because I think, well, maybe it's got to be inspirational, or maybe it's got to blah, blah, blah. But now, like, I mean, like I've told you, like I've lost some crazy ass people in crazy ass ways. It's okay to say, fuck, that's really shitty. It's okay just to say that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found too that it hurt more when people avoided me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there was one time, and it was right before Christmas, and you'll know Jamie Anderson. You remember Jamie? Probably. You might not. Anyway, his mom. He
Marge.
Asked, yes, you know.
Yeah, Marge. Shout out to Marge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Incredible lady.
Yeah.
She knows loss, right? Lots of kid in a different way, but she knows loss. And so I was in the grocery store. It was right before Christmas time, and I hate being in the grocery store before Christmas time because Christmas time's hard. Taylor's birthday's December. Christmas is December.
When's her birthday?
22nd.
Oh, okay.
So it's tough. Yeah. I love Christmas, but people are weird. People are weird. So I had someone that I knew very, very well.
Yeah.
Looked at the teller, said Merry Christmas, looked at me, and then just kind of went,
oh, shit.
Right? Well, I was devastated.
Yeah.
And I know that she didn't mean to hurt me.
It's yeah.
Right? And so I met up with Marge shortly after, and I said to her, like, when does it stop?
Yeah.
And she said, what? I said, when do people stop being weird?
Yeah.
And then I just lost it.
Yeah.
I just cried and I cried and I cried, and she hugged me, and I mean, it was like, just stop being weird. Like, you're making it harder.
Yeah, it's true.
Just say Merry fucking Christmas.
Merry fucking Christmas, and it's okay to say, hey, it's Taylor's birthday coming up. Happy birthday, right? Happy birthday.
I'm thinking about her.
Yeah,
because
she's
we
awesome.
haven't forgotten.
Yeah,
and don't let her be forgotten. And you and I just talked about that.
Yeah,
we want to talk about them. We want them to be remembered.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the biggest things that I have learned over the years. And you know, we talked about it a little bit before too. And that's a big fear that like, I mean, and I'll say it, I can even share it here. Like before I moved to Melita, we lost my brother-in-law Dale. Just a stupid fucking accident. He was building a go-kart for his nephews. Just the stupidest thing on the earth. He was building a go-kart, and he took it out for a test drive, and he just kind of tacked on the steering wheel, and he just didn't weld it on properly. And of course, he went for and that was my big fear, was I'm gonna forget him. I'm gonna forget what he looks like and all this stuff. So I didn't talk to anybody about it. And this is something else that we can talk about down the road, was like everybody grieves in a different way. But I was like hell-bent on telling all the Dale stories. And even now, like, I mean, Luke and Dean obviously have never met Dale, but they know all about him, and he's still part of our family because, you know, Dale hated lemon meringue pie, and he loved croutons and like all the all this stuff, right?
But he existed.
Yeah, he existed, and he still exists. You know, and you still have 3 kids.
Absolutely.
You know,
well, I'll always have 3 daughters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
You know, and that's okay.
And I talk about Taylor because I talk about the other 2.
Yeah.
Right? I want to talk about all of them.
Yeah.
I don't get to tell new stories about Taylor, right?
Yeah.
New things that she's doing.
Yeah.
But I can sure tell you lots of good old ones.
Sure. And even with those old stories, new lessons and new perspective and new gifts will come out of those stories even now. Yeah. New magic. Yeah. Yeah. One more cheers. Yeah. So yeah, like, I mean, and I think that's one thing that I was really, thinking about when I was preparing kind of mentally for this talk, and like I told that people were kind of like, oh, be so sad and stuff like that. But for me, with my journey, and I told you a little bit about it. I'll tell our massive audience here, millions. I keep still thinking that.
For your sake, I hope so, but not for mine.
I love how you laugh there. Yeah, but for me, talking about it, like, I never used to be like, I could always talk about somebody else's stuff, but I couldn't talk about my own stuff. For sure. Yeah, and this big wall would come up. And for my huge listening audience here, I was telling Vicki that I stumbled across Theo Fleury's trauma support group. It was an online group that we met every second Wednesday via Zoom. And, before I met him, and you're right, like, we meet people at a certain time for, and I knew, like, it's 2 years since I met him, and that was when Dad was really going downhill with his ability to just function, and he was like my best buddy, and so I knew I was going into a funk. So it was just kind of, it's interesting that I met Theo at the time that I did, and up until that point, I never talked about my shit, and in fact, I would have this huge wall up and pretend everything was fine, not tell anybody, and then resort to like really stupid humor. So this is a good part, like, to all the people in Melita that I offended with my sense of humor, I apologize.
It's a defense mechanism.
It was, and I've sent out more than one apology letter in Melita.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's 100% the truth.
I love
Some of those drama things got me into trouble. I apologize. We had a lot of fun, but that was my way of coping. But now, through working with Theo and all his stuff, now I can talk about my stuff. And it's healing, right? Yeah. So I'm glad that you're here, because even like, and we've talked about you talking about your stuff. Some people aren't super comfortable with the talking, but even just listening, maybe there's somebody right now that's really connecting with that.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. And talking and listening and just, working through it in your own way, I think is a really big deal. Yeah. So
we gotta deal with our shit one way or another.
We do. And everybody has shit.
Yes, we talked about that, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how good you're making it look. We all got stuff.
Yeah, we got them Instagram filters on and the duck lips, so I got her going on.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, we've all got a pile of shit that we have to work through, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So as we go through our conversation, and we have a lot to talk about, so go get some snacks. We're going to keep talking about Taylor and keep bringing up her stories, because that's important. Yeah. And I was thinking about your kids, and your kids were really young when I left. Yeah. So, and I'm trying, but I do remember, and I think it must have been Danielle, right? Because she's got the red hair, right? I was like flaming red hair bouncing down the hallway. Yeah. And she's the oldest, right? Yeah. So I remember cute red hair. Yeah. And Georgina taught grade 1 then, I think. So, always got the lowdown on all the kids through Georgina and just hearing about everybody. Yeah. So that's super cool. Yeah, we always got to tell us stories. I love it. So let's talk about, I think the next thing, and we've kind of moved into this a little bit, is just that sense of healing, and we covered this a little bit before the call, or before our little podcast here, was like everybody, and this is something that I was thinking about, like everybody grieves in a different way, like everybody has their thing, they react to this stuff differently, and we all heal differently too. And some people are maybe afraid of the work that it takes to heal, because it's painful and it's hard, but But I think that's something that's super important to talk about. Yeah, so that's why we're here, because again, I want people to walk away from this podcast with a real sense of, okay, so maybe this is some nuggets of how they can heal, a different perspective, that kind of thing. So talk to me about your healing journey.
We kind of chatted a little bit before. So when we first lost Taylor, I was off work for a little bit, went back to work quick because that's what I was supposed to do.
Oh yeah.
Right? And I had an amazing counselor who told me on numerous occasions, how many people work at the company that you work at?
Oh yeah.
Whatever. Like,
yeah.
Do you think it's going to fall apart if you're not there? Well, it might, No.
Yeah.
Oh, she's on here, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But that's how I'm driven. I gotta show up, and I can't take care of my shit.
Yeah.
I need to work. So I went back like a couple days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week. 4 days a week was way too much. Couldn't do it. Small town's hard because you know everyone, right?
It is.
So you get that awkward stuff too, right? Because they
sure.
come in and they know your story, and
yeah.
and they want to say something, but they don't want to say anything, right? So it was tough.
Yeah.
And then my job changed. They shut down our office in Melita. Had to drive to Verdun. In an office with other women. I'm sorry, other women out there. The more women that you have in a building, the more problems you have.
Yep.
Right? I always say men say F you, and they go for coffee and it's done, right? And women are tricky sometimes. Love them dearly, but they're tricky.
Yeah.
So ended up was there for a while. Court was coming up for us. I had an amazing, amazing supervisor at the time. And so she had called me into her office the Wednesday, Thursday before court was supposed to start, and said, "How are you?"
Oh.
Like, and it wasn't, "Oh, how are you?" It was, how are you doing? Like, she could tell I was not well. And I completely lost it. I bawled and I bawled and I bawled, and she looked at me and she said, "Okay, you are going home. Mm-hmm. You are taking some time off because this is not cool. This is not the way this is going to be." Yeah. And when we lost Taylor, and I was, of course, doctoring because I needed to when I was off work. Mm-hmm. And he kept saying, let's try some antidepressants. Let's put you on some meds. Let's help you deal with this stuff. Okay. And I said, no, I didn't want meds because, and I'm not knocking meds. I didn't want meds because I am not weak. I need to deal with this head on. I don't want to be numb because I don't want to have to, in 3 years, all of a sudden we're going to start all over again.
Fair enough.
That's where my brain was with meds. So I had refused all of them. So when I went off work, I went to my doctor, and he looked at me and he said, "Okay, we've done it your way. Now we're going to do it my way." And I respect the hell out of the man for doing that for me. Yep. Shout out. Yeah, he knows who he is. Yeah. And they don't make you numb. No. They don't make you weak. They gave me the strength that I needed to push forward and keep going. And I don't think I'm weak. Oh, fuck no. Right?
No, not at all.
Some days, but I don't think so. So anyhow, fast forward, I was off work then for a couple of years. COVID hit. Was able to go back to work, so that was huge. You need a reason to get up in the morning.
Yeah, you do.
And I was getting to a point where I needed something to do with my brain. I needed something. So back to work. It's great. It's good. I've started going to the gym.
Excellent. You know I love that.
I know. And if I would have said that 5 years ago, if you would have said to me, 5 years you're going to be going to the gym twice a week for an hour, I would have said, "You fucking crazy." Because that is not me. But out of my comfort zone, let's give it a shot. It can't hurt, right? Yeah. And Danielle is always like, "Mom, everybody needs to be physical. You need to do something. And it doesn't matter if it's walking, if it's whatever. You don't have to be diehard crazy like you are in the gym."
Well, more the crazy part than anything.
Anyhow, so signed up with Leah DL. Shout out to Leah at her gym, and I go every 2 weeks or every week, twice a week.
Nice. For
an hour, and it's when COVID was on and we couldn't go. It was hard on the mental health. I didn't realize how much I needed that. Mm-hmm. And there's a great group of us girls that are there, and we have a blast, and we curse and we swear and we sweat. But it makes us stronger
in every aspect.
Yes, right? Like it. So that's what I do now, and I love it. It's great.
Taylor would be very proud of
I know she would.
Yeah.
And my kids are, my kids are proud of me.
For sure.
They're proud of me.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah. So I to a lady, and I mentioned this to you before, a couple different aspects. So I had chatted with this lady, a mom who has also lost a child, very new for them, to an impaired driver. And so I was telling her about the meds, and she said, I am at that spot right now.
Yeah.
I don't, she was feeling the same thing. She didn't want to take them because this is how it's going to make me feel and whatever. And so I told her, and I said to her, like, I am not telling you what to do, because I would never tell anyone what to do, except my daughters. It worked for me. And she said, I'm really going to think about it. I really think that this is something that might help me.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's why when you asked me to come and do this with you, I was like, let's do it. Because if sharing that little tidbit with somebody makes them go, okay, I can do this, and it doesn't make me weak and it helps, then that's a win.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing, is that we are conditioned that we always have to be the strong one, and we can't falter, and we have to get back into life right away. And we can't, we got to avoid the awkward stuff. But if taking that pill gives you the strength to get out of bed and keep trucking,
then what's wrong with it?
Yeah, give her shit.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's definitely helped me cope, right? We're almost 8 years since we lost Taylor.
Yeah.
So time heals. Time makes it different, right? Time makes it different.
Time makes it different.
Yes.
Yes.
It doesn't hurt as bad. You and I talked about this before. When I think about Taylor, I don't think about the bad stuff. I get to think about the good stuff. And the bad stuff's still there. And don't get me wrong, driving down the street, a song comes on, boom, I'm crying. Yep. And it takes a couple days to regroup and get going again. Or hear a song, start jamming, think of hey, remember when Taylor did, and it's good.
Yeah, I really love that you say that. And I think, and I wonder, like, I've had enough grief in my own life, but sometimes I wonder if there's that perception that I can't be happy, because if I'm happy, then I'm being kind of betraying or disrespectful to what happened.
I have an example of that for you, and sorry, honey. My husband's my rock. He's my best friend. And this is probably a couple summers after we had lost Taylor, and we were at Oak Lake campground, and they had a band, and because they do every other weekend or every once a month or something.
Yeah.
And love to dance. We both do, right? And I said, let's go dance. He's like, no.
Oh.
And I said, what? Like, feeling good? What's the deal? He's like, no, we're not going to dance.
Yeah.
So, okay, whatever. I left it alone. So then later I said to him, like, what's that? Why didn't you want? Well, because people can't see us happy.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, that's a crock. I'm sorry if people want to judge us because we're dancing and smiling. They could go to hell.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because this is us and we need to keep going, and Taylor would be so upset with us if we didn't keep doing what we love to do.
Yes.
So that was, it was like, no, I don't care what they think. And so we dance and we laugh and we smile because we do.
And chances are the people who are watching you are probably just happy that you're feeling good.
And we've had people say that. It's so cool to see you guys here and smiling and doing stuff, right? But
it's that guilt that we put on ourselves.
And why do we care?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I'm sorry, you do you. And if what I'm doing bothers you, well then don't swing on my gate.
Yeah, my gate. Yeah. You don't like it?
Right?
Yeah, it's so true.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we I've been able to go to the Mad Victims Conference a couple times, which is an incredible experience. Met so many families who have had people killed, injured by impaired drivers. And there's way too many people there. And that's only a small portion.
For sure.
But they get it. Right?
Yes.
I don't have to say, oh, well, it feels, whatever. And they, as soon as you meet them, it's like, tell me about your kid.
I love it.
Tell me your story. They want to hear, and you want to hear their stories because they're the same.
Yeah.
And we had a speaker this past year, and she said, she talked about people comparing their grief, right? I've had somebody say to me, well, you lost your daughter. That's worse than me losing. It's like, no.
It's like the grief or trauma Olympics.
Right?
Yeah. And
this lady said, your grief is the worst possible grief you could ever experience. And that really resonated with me because, because everybody's relationship's different. And like I told this lady that I was chatting with, I said, I would never tell her, and this comes from a friend of mine who gave me this advice. She said, I would never tell this lady, I know what you're feeling. Because I don't.
Right.
And I said to this lady, I am traveling a similar road. we are traveling a similar journey, and we probably have similar experiences. I don't know your relationship. I don't know you.
Yeah.
Right? So I can't tell you that I know how you feel, because I honestly don't.
Right. Because it diminishes it then.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because that grief is the worst grief that you're ever going to experience. And it doesn't matter if it's a parent or a kid or a sibling or a pet, right?
Yeah.
It's your grief.
Yeah.
You get to do it. And something else that I've told this lady, and I've told other people, don't let anybody ever tell you how you do this. Right? You get to decide, yeah, I want to go back to work right away because that's what I need to function.
Yes.
No, I can't go back to work because this is what I need to function.
Mm-hmm.
I need to cry for a month. I don't need to cry. Right? Like, and some people are like, okay, well, somebody died, funeral's over, back to normal.
Yeah.
Which is how it works for everyone else. It doesn't work that way for people who've lost someone. Right. So don't tell me how this works because you don't know.
Right. Yeah. Everybody is on a different path. Everybody reacts to grief differently. And like, I mean, there's this tickle trunk of things that you can do to try and get through it. But what you pick from that tickle trunk is up to you.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, like, I mean, we also talked about how the curling up in the ball.
You either curl up and die, or you figure out a way to keep going.
Yeah.
And curling up and dying would not be acceptable in Taylor's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not in ours. I refuse to let people do that if I can help.
Yeah, which I really, I'm not, love isn't the right word, but I get it, you know. And I think you and I think one of the reasons why I was so excited to have you in is that I think you and I are very similar. I think we have the same kind of outlook about that kind of stuff. Yeah. Because I'm a big talker about this stuff and everything like that, and that's kind of how I've gotten through it. And you got to keep moving. You got to keep going.
Yeah. And some people can't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some people that's not. But I can't honor my kid if I'm not living my life.
Yeah, exactly. So talk to me. We have a lot more to talk about. If you need to get snacks, that's okay. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about because I'm going to jump around in my little agenda here a little bit. But that takes me to the hockey tournament. And I'm sorry, I snoop everybody on Facebook like I'm a little stalker. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? Yeah, it's my life. But those pictures every year I kind of look forward to it. Because I watch them and it's like Julie from Winnipeg's going and, you know, Krista's going and they're getting, you know, and Morgan and everybody and they're getting their jerseys on and stuff like that. And I've told you that, especially this year, the magic, the looks on the girls' faces, you know, in the change room and with their jersey, you know, like all this stuff. There's something really powerful about that. So tell us about the hockey tournament especially for the people who don't know anything about it.
Okay. So I'm going to back up just a little bit. When we lost Taylor, you know, when there's a funeral, there's always like give donations to whatever, right? So we created a fund for in memory of Taylor. It's the Taylor Renwick Sponsor a Minor Hockey Player Fund.
Yeah,
That's what we called it. So lots of people gave a lot of donations, and it was just amazing, overwhelming to us. So what we do with the money is people can send us requests, emails, and it can be a family member or a friend. If there's a child in their community, and I'm not a little child, it can be right up till, you know, age 18 kind of thing. And they want to play hockey. It's specific to hockey because that was Taylor's sport. Yeah. And we will help them financially with equipment or registration fees. We've helped with some extended season opportunities, clinics for kids. So we're getting to share Taylor's love that way, and kids that wouldn't get the opportunity otherwise.
For sure.
We've helped probably about 30 kids.
No way. That's amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And I have to tell you this little story. I mean, there's so many stories. But we had a request from a family who, there was a little guy had moved to their neighborhood or their community from another country. Okay. And this kid wanted to play hockey so bad. So this lady's son had gone home and found all the stuff that he could find at their house. Yeah. Talked to friends, dressed this kid for hockey. community people put in money to pay this kid's fund and to drive him to tournaments, and like the parent, all the other parents just
love
took
it.
this kid.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the request came in. They were going to provincials, and there was going to be some expenses for the weekend for them to go, and the family just didn't feel that they could do it. So could we help? And of course we were all over it, right?
Yeah.
So this mom sent us some pictures, and we don't share who we give money to. Okay. If they want to share, that's up to them, but that we don't. That's our thing. Mm-hmm. And seeing the pictures of this kid, and he's wearing his provincial hockey t-shirt, and he's there, and it was just like, that's Taylor's gift, right? When we lost her, Taylor would have donated her organs. I know she would have. Mm-hmm. She couldn't. It just wasn't. Yeah, we couldn't do it. So I struggle with that a lot, because I know she would have done that, and that would have been a gift that would have kept going. Yeah. Right. But when we see these pictures of these kids, and this year it was kind of cool because we know the kids we've helped, right? So seeing the parents post one of the kids that we had helped got most valuable player, and seeing them with their banners, and that that was just. It's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
So the tournament, Danielle had attended a tournament actually in Steinbach with Jessica, her friend, Jess Brickett. And so the format of their tournament is women just sign up. It's women only. And put you on teams, and you play a day of hockey. Just for fun. There's always a champ at the end. They have a trophy and the whole bit. But anyhow, so Danielle got the format from that. So it would have been probably 2016 when she went to that tournament. So then got the wheels spinning and started talking about, this is something we'd like to do in Melita for Taylor. So 2017 was the first one. And I want to say the first year, did we have 5 teams? We had 5 teams, like 50 some women. We say age 18 up because it's insurance and all that good stuff, okay. Right? Yeah. Not that we wouldn't love younger people, but 18. And it's women of all ages, people who have played hockey, people who play 2 and 3 times a week, people who have never played before. Yeah. And the girls put them on teams, and they just show up, and we schedule the day. It's 2 days. They start Saturday. We always have a supper Saturday night. Oh, okay. So we bring in Chicken Chef and Main Street Takeout. Shout out to them. Oh, nice. Pizza and chicken, which is what Taylor would have had, right? Oh, that was her choice. And salads and the whole bit, desserts. And so it's supper Saturday night, and then back Sunday. And it's always family weekend. So the girls have Monday to travel home and lick their wounds and try and get back to work. Yeah. We had one girl, and I'm not going to mention her name. She'll know who she is. Played hockey with Taylor. And of course hasn't played since high school, right? Mm-hmm. So first year, second day of the tournament, she's walking up the stairs, and in Melita rink, you go upstairs, and then you go upstairs, right, to get to the waiting room. And she looked at me and she said, "Who the fuck put all these steps in here?"
That hurts.
And I said to her, "Okay, these steps have always been here." But despite the sore muscles and the whatever, the smiles on these women's faces, and you see it in the pictures, and you see it, when you're watching, you can just see the smiles. And we have met so many incredible people, and the girls have got to know each other, right? So many relationships. And so we were actually at the same tournament yesterday here in Steinbach, and so there were some girls there that we have met through Taylor's tournament, who were playing in the tournament, who have met, there's so many people have met so many new people.
That's super.
And it's so empowering.
Yes.
For women. And it fills our cup. It fills my cup. It's a hard weekend, because that's Taylor's kind of weekend, right? She would have wanted to be there and play in every game. Yeah. Right? I don't care whose team I'm on. I'm going to play on your team because I want to play.
I love that.
And so that's tough. Mm-hmm. Because she would have loved it, and she should be out there playing hockey with her sisters, and she doesn't get to. But there's a lot of girls she played hockey with, hockey families, right? Parents of those guys that we raised our kids together, right? So it's great, and we want to talk about Melita. We post, hey, we need some volunteers, and no problem. Yeah. Sign me up for this many shifts. Sign me up this day. Sign me up that day. What can I do? Do you need prizes? We don't ask for donations, but people are just like, hey, stop in. I got this for you. Or they just show up with it at the rink. We do raffles. Like it's just
that is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And it from afar, like, because I've never been out for it. From afar, you can see the momentum and the power and the magic and the energy from all of this, because like, that's one thing that I love about social media, is that people are kind of posting their lives, and so you, like, I'm not sure, it starts on Saturday, but on Thursday you start seeing the intro post, like getting geared up, getting packed up, heading to Melita, and it's not just from Melita, it's like people from Winnipeg and people from Minnedosa and like all over the place.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
We have people that come from there. Yeah.
And it's just this building thing that there's an energy to it. I can't explain it because I've never been there.
You need to come.
Yeah.
You need to come. Get your skates laced up. I was telling you earlier, right? I played this year. I was never a hockey player. I was a figure skater. In Napinka, Manitoba. I was telling the girls yesterday. Yeah. But I've never played. I've always it's been, bucket list kind of thing. Yeah. Maybe I'd like to give it a try. And so I had promised the girls last year that I would try this year.
Okay.
My girls, we pinky swore in the whole bit.
Oh.
So I had to do it. And I dragged out Taylor's hockey equipment. I said to Wink, is this okay with you? We had it. I washed it all up and put it all away. And he's like, of course it is. So it all fit me. I mean, some of it was a little snug. Taylor's a lot smaller than me, but hey, we made it work. Sure. And laced up my skates, and away I went. And I had such an amazing time. And it was kind of a funny little story. I had a couple of girls say to me, are you wearing Taylor's gloves? I was like, yeah. Yeah. And I was like, how do you recognize Taylor's gloves? Yeah. They knew they were hers.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And I know she was laughing her ass off at me, but she would also have been really proud.
Proud and thrilled, all the stuff.
So I learned, I did okay, I think. Everybody told me I did great, but people do that, right? But I had so much fun, and I fell down, and I learned to get up, which was a goal. I was working. I was laying in bed one night, and I was like, holy shit, what am I going to do if I fall down?
Somebody will get that on video.
Well, and Wink's the ref, and I said, like, you'll help me up, right? He goes, no. I'll laugh at you first. There was one time he did help me, but he dropped the puck. It was just go ahead. But I had so much fun, and the girls were all just so amazing, and it was like, this is why my kids love hockey so much.
Yeah, exactly.
The people.
And it's a celebration of Taylor, it's a celebration, something bigger than yourself too, right?
And all these people get to know about Taylor. Yeah. Right? And they're making friends, and they're making friendships, and that's the part that Taylor loved most about hockey. When she played a little bit of extended, just one season. And so first day of university, a little kid from Napinka, Manitoba is in University of Manitoba. Yeah, right. And she walks into a classroom with 200-300 people, however many. And she spots a girl that she played hockey with.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, hey, I know you. Please, let's sit together.
Super. Yeah.
Without hockey, she wouldn't have that.
And without hockey, that gave her, the lady balls to go into that room. Yeah.
So that's what it's about. And again, the money that we raise, we have it sitting in an account, and we're so excited when we get to help a kid play hockey. Because who knows, they could be the next Wayne Gretzky. Yeah. Whatever. Right?
And Wayne Gretzky, or like that boy you were telling, that's just what an impact you're making on their life, right? It's such a good thing.
Yeah. And it feels good.
Yeah.
And it's not just us. Right? And, we're kind of doing the mechanical part, but everybody else is contributing. It's because of the contributions, or we couldn't do it.
You're right. And you know what I really love about that is that, did you ever know about my baton run that I did? I think this is maybe...
But I don't know.
So there's a group, there's a disease called baton disease. It's like a terminal disease. It's very similar to kind of like, the kids grew up looking totally healthy until about age 5 or so, and then they lose the ability to walk and talk, and they become visually impaired and stuff like that. It's always a terminal disease. And anyhow, we had one of the parents was from Elkhorn, and so for years I organized this road race to support these families in Manitoba. But it's the same thing, like bringing people together to celebrate people, and then do something bigger. And that's the magic, and that's what you're doing on so many levels.
And it's healing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's hard in some aspects, and are the girls always they always talk and share kind of a little tidbit of our story.
Okay.
So that because people who come don't know Taylor, don't know why we're there,
Yeah, okay.
don't know why we don't have her.
Yeah.
So they usually share a little story and say, she was killed in a crash by an impaired driver, and we always have we have mad banners.
Okay.
We have one specifically with Taylor's pictures and stuff on it. I should send you a picture.
Yeah.
So and there's a poster that shows, and I forget what years it is, but it's victims, and it's a huge banner, and all the people on there and the names on there, and it really kicks the hell out of people because you look at that and you're like,
for sure,
this is a huge problem.
Yeah.
And because of where we live, it's not something that happens, right? I mean, people don't get killed by an impaired driver in Melita, Manitoba. They did, like years ago. There was lots of people that were killed by drunk drivers.
Yeah.
Or were drunk themselves, right? But
yeah.
that doesn't happen, so it's not on our radar. And it wasn't on our radar.
No, I guess,
Right?
Yeah. That's an interesting thing because, and I guess it can take us to our MAD discussion too, because drinking and driving, clearly a problem, clearly still a problem. I think about in the city, there's Uber and taxis and all that stuff. So, that kind of thing. But out in the country, like I know people my mom's age who still drink and drive, which makes me livid.
I'm just talking about where the money goes, right? So we're able to help kids to play hockey. And
but out in the country, it's harder because we don't have Uber or that kind of stuff.
And that's what I see just, sitting back watching. Mm-hmm. It's the older generation. And not that our generation doesn't do it and that some of the kids don't do it, because they certainly do. But it seems to be the ones that have been doing it for years.
Makes sense.
Because I've been doing it forever.
And I'm
a good driver. I drive back roads.
I'm a good driver, back roads, and back then it was very much socially acceptable to do.
Everybody knows, right? Oh, that's so-and-so. He's probably drunk, so stay away.
Yeah.
Not cool.
No. Yeah.
And the guy that killed Taylor, and I have to correct you, it's a crash. When somebody impaired kills another person, that's no accident.
Makes
that's
sense,
right. That's one of our big campaigns now is drop the A word.
Because it's not because he made a decision to do that. So that's not an accident.
He didn't wake up that morning, okay, I'm going to kill somebody today, right? But the choices that he made led up to Taylor's death.
Very good point.
So
very good.
Drop the A word.
Drop the A word.
That's
very good. I'm gonna redo my whole language now.
It's hard, and I find myself once in a while using the word too, but it's not. That's not an accident.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. So Matt has one of the campaigns right now. You'll see it on TV.
Okay.
If you have TV, nobody watches TV anymore. It's Netflix.
Yeah.
Right?
Drop the A word. I really like that. So we're going to put that in the social media posts too, because that's really important. Yeah. Because in an instant, it reframes the way you see it. Yeah. Love that. Yeah. So talk to me about MAD.
Not a group that I ever thought I would be part of, right?
Yeah.
And we had MAD presentations when we were in school. I remember one of them, but we sat there and we watched this guy up there talk, and he had this body bag and
I remember body bag guy.
Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Right. So you watch the video and it's these fake crashes, and it's fake blood and it's all this stuff, and it's like, okay, whatever, that's fine. That doesn't happen here. We don't talk about it. Right. So we were thrust into it pretty quick, right, when we lost Taylor. MAD, the victim support for MAD is incredible. Mm-hmm. And we are victims because of Taylor's loss. If someone's hurt, the connections, right? You're a victim if you're affected.
Yeah.
So the girls joined MAD right away. Well, not right away. They were a few months. My dad and actually my stepmom joined right away. Okay. In Brennan. And it took me a while longer. Mm-hmm. I needed to take care of me for a while first before I could give to anybody else. We joined MAD. I invited to Victims Conference and met all these incredible people. And when I got home, I was like, okay, I need to focus on this. This is important. We need to try and do some stuff here. So our Brandon chapter's really, really busy. Not crazy busy, but we try to do as much as we can to get that information rural. Not so much, and we do lots of Brandon stuff, but we want to push rural too, because people need to be reminded. Yeah. Right? One of the cool things that we've done is we have some signs that we put up in communities that are report an impaired driver. pull over, call 911,
Mhm.
and lots of communities have signed up with us to get them, so we've done that.
Yeah.
Impaired driver caught here signs.
Oh wow.
We have lots of those in Brandon.
Yeah.
And it would honestly, there's one by the school, by the sportsplex, and I don't know what school it is, and I drive by there a lot when I'm going to Hillary's, and it really makes me feel sick every time I drive by that sign.
That is sick.
Because,
Yeah.
and a lot of the time, it's not 9 o'clock at night. It could be 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mhm.
This drunk person is driving by a school,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
We do a fundraiser every year, which you would like. It's a color run, so it's like run or die.
Yeah.
Yes. So last year was the first year we had it at the Keystone Center. We had done that Riverbank before that. It is a blast.
Mhm.
And I don't run, obviously. I walk. Last year I got to work, so I was throwing dye at people, and it was
cool.
great.
Yeah.
And so that's probably our biggest fundraiser.
Yeah.
Music and bouncy castles and do the run. So it's pretty awesome.
That's super.
Barbecues, we try to do some of those in some communities, again, just to get that information out there.
Yeah.
Talking at schools. I was, how you and I kind of got connected again was
That's right.
through MPI.
That's right.
Right. And doing what I did with the schools there, and that was huge. It was incredible.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad that we could connect like that. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're working really hard to change the way things are going, and it's frustrating when you see the numbers. And I thought with COVID that the numbers would have been down because you couldn't go anywhere, right? There wasn't socials, the bars weren't open. So what are these people doing? But the impaired numbers during COVID were horrible.
And I think one thing that comes to my mind is that it made me think when you said that, some of these impaireds are happening at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because, and why is it bigger in COVID? But when we experience trauma and if we're trying to numb that pain, we're turning maybe to alcohol or drugs. And then if that's our coping mechanism, then one of the things that can come out of that is hopping into a vehicle. Yes. Yeah. So the in a sense, in part goes hand in hand. Yes. Which is sad and scary.
Yeah. And I am not anti-alcohol.
No.
I was at a social last night, had a couple drinks, right?
Yeah.
But I just don't drive.
Exactly.
It is not rocket science.
Mm-hmm.
You drink, you do drugs, you don't get behind the wheel.
Yeah.
You don't get behind the wheel with someone who has. And I mean, small towns, it's tough because we don't have Ubers and we don't have taxis, but you make a plan.
Yes.
Right. Hey, Jody, we're going to go out tonight. We're going to have drinks. I'm going to be the DD so that you can have those couple drinks and we're going to be safe.
Yeah.
Or, hey, Fred, I need a ride because, I had a couple drinks.
Yeah.
Or, and when I did my school presentations, I said to the kids, your parents would much rather have you call them at 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, Mom, I need a ride. They might be pissed off at you because they were sleeping and whatever, but it's a lot better than having police officers in your driveway.
100%. Right. And adults, 30 to 50 to 60 to 70-year-olds, your kids would prefer to drive you home than find out that you've.
It's not tough.
Yeah.
Something that is coming for MAD that's very, very exciting, and I don't know all the details, but the U.S. is getting close. I don't know if the bill's, I think it's passed, but I'm not positive. I could get the information, send it to you. To put anti-impaired driving, what do you want to call it? It's not devices, technology.
Okay.
In all brand new vehicles. After, I can't remember if it's 25, 26.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So their prediction is that will stop 80 to 85% of impaireds.
Wow.
So, I mean, if it happens in the States, we'll have it too, right?
Sure.
Because our vehicles are made in the same spot.
Yeah.
Which, it shouldn't be that way, right? We should just know that.
We should just know.
But
we don't.
But that's a huge thing. Mm-hmm. And I spoke with a police officer when I was doing the MAD stuff through Hydro. Ended up speaking with an officer from in here, and older gentleman, and so we were chatting about this in a little group. Well, that's not right. You're painting everybody with the same brush. Well, my back went up, right? I was so mad, and I kept my cool. Mm-hmm. And there was another officer there, and he looked at him and he said, "Well, seatbelts did the same thing, right? Yeah. Everybody has to wear their seatbelt. We had to make it a law so people would do it anyway." The guy shut up pretty quick.
Well, yeah.
But I was like, "Are you kidding me? You're an officer, you see this crap every day, and that's your attitude?" Which, it's out there, and I'm not going to change everybody's mind. I don't think that I will, but if one person listens,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But that technology is going to be huge.
Will be.
Let's hope it happens.
Yeah, exactly. Because it accounts for some really bad decision making. It takes that out of the picture. Yeah, good on you. Hey, here's to you. Good on you.
To you.
Yeah, exactly. So I think now, for the really exciting portion of the podcast here, I think we need to talk about Meletta.
Be afraid, everybody.
No! They're probably like, I'm just glad she's gone. No. Like I said, like I will always say this, is that I loved living in Melita. I really did. It was just a blast. In many ways, I wish I hadn't left. I miss the kids. I miss teaching. Although, like we talked about in our little break, I probably would have gotten fired.
Hey, things have changed.
I know. I'm sorry, kids, I didn't get your shit marked on time. Yeah. It's true. Yeah, but I did have a lot of fun. But one thing that I've really thought about, kind of over the years too, is that, for one thing, I think every community has their share of like really shitty things that happen in a community. Melita has had some, like before I got to Melita, I heard about some really shitty things that happened. While I was in Melita, we had some tragedies. And since I've left, there have been some really bad shit, And bad shit happens to everybody, and that's a thing, right? But the one thing that really stands out in my mind with the community of Melita is that when shit hits the fan or shit goes sideways for a particular family, everybody just steps up to the plate. Everybody does. Yeah. And the one thing that I always kind of laughed about living there, and it was kind of hard to get used to it first, is that I go for a run or something, and then I go in to teach, and then everybody's like, I saw you running. I saw you. And I'm like, okay. And then they're like, my parents saw you at the social. Which was kind of hard to get used to. Yeah. And there was did you ever know Elio? He taught in Pearson for a while, and he was a big marathoner. And the big joke was that whenever he'd go for a long run, he couldn't get very far, and people would stop and ask him if he needed a ride.
Yeah, small town.
It is, yeah. And then so on one hand, it was a little bit disconcerting, but once you get used to it, when you see that level of just step up to the plate, that's gold, because you don't see that everywhere. Like here, we have people in the city are nice people, but you don't get that.
The connections aren't the same, right?
Yeah.
I used to tease my girls, and then we'll get into the tougher stuff, but I used to tease them, like, if you get in trouble at school, or if you think you're going to skip school, you might as well call me and say, hey, Mom, I'm cutting the next class, because somebody will see you downtown.
Somebody sees
and call me and be like, hey, Danielle's uptown. Should she not be in school?
It's
right?
So true. It's so
they were like, okay, so just don't lie to me. Just say, hey.
Yeah. And you know what the hard part was, is that for us single teachers living there, that if I was sick and I needed to go to the doctor and get like antibiotics, if I go into the pharmacy like at 1:00, they're like, why aren't you in school? Why aren't you in school? Like, so I've got strep throat.
Yeah, which is, it's a good thing, but it's tough to get used to.
Yeah.
But as soon as we lost Taylor, it was, the community stepped up. And there was so many times that I had lots of happy tears and unbelievable, because the food that came to our house, and the people that popped in, and the hugs and the cards and the emails and the Facebook stuff, and a phone call to Karen, because Taylor worked for her. A phone call to her, hey, this is what's going on. What do we need to do? Okay, here's all the legal stuff you need to do. I've already taken care of all these things for you.
Classy,
right?
Karen,
yes.
the Beauchamp family,
right?
Yeah.
So it's a huge weight, and in a city you wouldn't get that, because that's just not how it works, right? For me, one phone call to one of my fellow employees, I didn't make it; someone else made it for me. They called the supervisors; they took care of it.
Yeah,
I didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah,
which maybe doesn't sound like a big thing, but when you're on the floor in pieces and don't know how you're going to make another step because you have all these decisions to make, it's huge.
Yeah.
Neil Redpath, shout out to Neil, and Kurt Arderon, our funeral directors in Melita. Kurt had worked with Taylor. She had volunteered at Remembrance Day services, and he did a lot of the stuff, so knew Taylor, and hockey fans, both of them. Yeah. And Neil's son, Taylor, went to school with our Taylor. Okay. So, of course, watched Taylor grow up. So, they were incredible. Yeah. That's not a job I could do, but they made things as easy as they possibly could for us. we had her service in the rink because we have a lot of family.
Yeah.
And we need chairs to come from other communities, right? The Melita didn't have enough, right? So hockey team, Hillary's classmates step up to the plate, trucks, trailers, whatever, picked up these chairs, took them, set them up, picked them, like cleaned them up at the end, like, and it was just like, everybody just did shit.
Everybody,
right?
Yes.
And and people were just, and it wasn't even with us because we were taking care of other stuff, but what can we do? What do you need? You know, and it was just,
magic.
Yes. And we had a guy, and he was the guy that did actually the sound for the kids grad, because we were worried about sound system because we're in a big building, and he's like, nope, taken care of. And he brought a screen, and he brought the stuff, and like, people are good. And there was lots of times that I was like, we don't deserve this. And my mom kept saying, why do you think that? But, you know, it was...
because we could say the community of Melita, but it's really the family.
Oh,
you know, sure, everybody's related, we get that, but it's this big family that, you know, and I've always kind of thought that, like when I organized this run, like growing up in Cromer and Reston, it was the same thing. Like, you might not know the person, you might not like them, but as soon as you hear that shit has gone sideways, you are on that party line, you're making casseroles, you're planning the benefits, you're doing the stuff, you're getting the crop off, you know, you're doing all the stuff. Yeah. And that's just how we get through. That's how we get through life.
And we would have made it through without, but it sure made it a lot easier.
Hell yeah. And that's, you see, the one thing that I really love about that is that when stuff happens, they want to help, and they can't control what happened to Taylor, but they want to feel like they can do something to ease your burden. And so that's a good way to do that. Yeah. Yeah. So kind of everybody wins in that regard.
Yeah. Oh, and people, you want to help, right? I mean, and for us, you see it happen to another family, and it's like, hey, I know these things are really important, right? These things were huge. Bring them toilet paper.
Yes.
Right?
Can you tell that story?
Absolutely.
That's a great story.
We had people, bringing food and casseroles and veggie trays and whatever, and we had someone bring a box with coffee and napkins and stir sticks and sugar and toilet paper. And at the time, I was like, yeah, I mean, that's really kind of you, but why would you bring somebody toilet paper when someone's passed away?
Yeah.
But you got all those butts in your house, extra people. Toilet paper is something that you need.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if I do stuff like that now, they get toilet paper because you need it.
As my dad would say, you got to get the paperwork done.
Exactly.
Yeah. But somebody has walked the journey, walked the walk, they get it, and that's their way of saying, I got you. Yeah. I got you.
And it's huge. Right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta have the toilet paper.
You gotta have the toilet paper. So, massive cheers and shout out to the people of not just Melita, but Napinka and Pearson and Reston and Cromer, St. Clair, like all the places. Yeah, all of the places. And massive shout out to you all. There's nothing like small town country life. I will say that for as long as I live. Yeah. So cheers to all you. Cheers. Yeah. So, life lessons. We had talked about before, about like you and I often talk about, like, with adversity you get gifts and lessons and stuff like that. And we're not, like, I mean, we talked about there isn't really a gift, right? But there are lessons, and there are maybe are there life lessons that you've learned along the way?
How much time do we have?
Yeah.
How much video do we have?
Give me like one or two of your big ones that really you think people would really resonate with.
Well, I think, like, reaching out to people who have lost is huge, right? Don't shy away from people. And I'm not saying be in their face, but everybody says, let me know what I can do to help.
Yeah.
We all do it.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I wasn't going to text somebody and be like, hey, I need, because that's hard. It's hard to ask for what you need for. Yeah. You need. But just show up with casserole. Mm-hmm. Call the store and say, hey, send a veggie tray. Yeah. Send them some fruit. Send them some junk food. Right. Just give them stuff that you know they need without them asking. Yeah. Because people don't ask. Right. No. And I've said too, like, if there's something that you need, like, reach out to me. I don't care what time it is. If you need to just call, you need to swear, you need to cry, I'll listen. I'll swear with you. I'll cry with you. Right. life's too short to be anything but who you are.
Yes.
Right?
I love that.
Just do you. Right? That I say that a lot, do you. I don't care. Do your business. Like, be you. just do you.
I'm all over that.
You got it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got what I'm laying there.
Dog, dog.
Yeah, life's short. Eat the cake. Taylor loved her dessert. Eat the cake.
What was her favorite dessert?
Oh, Taylor liked all desserts. But she made score-bar cake. And she made some kick-ass score-bar cake.
That's like a country thing.
Right?
Yes.
And she actually would make it for, well, specifically her hockey teams. Like if there was birthdays and stuff, like in the last couple of years, right, when they were done, she would make score-bar cake and take it to practice or a game or whatever, share it with the teammates. Yes. Yeah, Taylor liked making score-bar cake.
Okay.
Yeah, any kind of dessert. Taylor is a dessert girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't made that in years, but that's a Melita, like, staff room Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and Taylor got to do a lot of cool things. Like she got to go to England and London and Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, and see the Eiffel Tower, and
Yeah.
was on the slingshot at the fair in Minot, and met some Olympic hockey players.
Super.
Like you got to try and do stuff.
You have to do this stuff, don't you?
And I know there's financial reasons why you can't do stuff, but none of us know what tomorrow's going to bring.
You're so right. Yeah, you got to do this shit. Let's do some shout out to Taylor's friends and your other kids' friends, Danielle and Hillary. Let's do, if you want. If we don't have to.
I don't want to name names.
Okay.
There's
we don't want to forget it.
Yeah, no, and they know who they are. They know.
But shout out to y'all anyway.
Yes, they know who they are.
Yeah.
And they've been our rocks too, and send us, funny little stories every once in a while. I'll get a cute little text from one of the kids, like they're all kids.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, I just thought of this, Taylor, and whatever, and it's like, oh, like it's the best.
It is.
Or they find a random picture and they'll just send it, and they're like, is this okay? I'm like, of course it's okay. Like it warms my heart because they're thinking about her.
Yeah.
And they're thinking about her, and that feels good.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Fuck, we have had a good time.
Oh. We're gonna have to do part 2 again. We have to do this again.
Yeah, we really do. We have, and I'm just so glad that we could talk about all this stuff. Yeah, it's really good.
I told you, you're not getting BS from me. I'm not doing it.
As soon as I read that, I thought we are best friends now. We are best friends. Yeah,
we're on the same wavelength.
We really are. I really think so. Yeah, we have massive. Yeah, like I think we see the things the same way. Yeah.
Which is really cool.
It really, really is.
It's scary for you, but it's really cool.
I don't know. See what goes on up here. I don't know. Yeah. So no, thank you very much for coming in. I'm so glad this recorded. And you're just a rock star. It really is. Yeah.
Work in progress. Work in progress.
It's all good. Yeah. I'm gonna shut this down. Oh, I have to close this up. So I always close my thing off with the same thing, right? Yeah. So buy somebody a coffee, pay somebody a compliment, have some score cake. I'm making some now.
I do that.
And go to a hockey tournament and play hockey. And we'll put the links down for Matt too. Yeah. And for do you have a link for your hockey tournament stuff? Okay, so we'll put the links down for that too.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I'll send you the info for the fund actually too. I'm in the process of getting a charitable.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, that's right on.
It's been working.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're getting it. So.
Yeah, maybe I'll play hockey someday. I don't know.
Look, just come hang out. You would have so much fun if you came because all the people.
I would, but it's in the winter and I don't highway drive in the winter. That's a topic for another podcast. Yeah. Alrighty, have a good one, you guys, and share the love. See you later.